Hey guys, man, what's up, man? We're back at it again. I got another tutorial for you guys. And hey, listen, last week was a pretty simple assignment, so I didn't really post any things in terms of me giving you guys instruction. But I'm gonna go ahead and do that this week because I want to make sure you guys are clear on what it is I need you to do and how to handle this. So let's get to it. So we're talking about simplifying algebraic expressions still, but there's something on here different. You have these numbers, and then you have these numbers inside of the parentheses. So let me tell you how to handle that. First thing that we want to focus on is what you call the distributive property. All right, that is the distributive property. And so what the distributive property is, let's go ahead and go to the full screen, and then I'm gonna go to my full screen. It ain't going to my full screen. There's my full screen. I was hitting the wrong button. My B. All right, so this is basically when you're going to use the distributive property. So when you have a number outside of the parentheses, what you need to do is you need to distribute this into the parentheses. Now, how do you do that? It's very simple. It's going to be a multiplicative principle, okay? So last week, if you remember, anytime you have a number outside of the parentheses like that, all you do is multiply. 3 times 2 gives you 6. Well, it's the same thing here, except we have multiple numbers. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to multiply 3 times x, which is 3x. That's how you handle that. Really simple. Then you're going to multiply 3 times negative 4, and that's going to be a negative 12, so that will be a minus 12. So the new expression is going to be 3x minus 12. Let's try another one. Let's give you another one. Okay? So let's do 4 parentheses. Let's do a x minus 6. Okay? All right? So we're going to distribute. That means we're going to do 4 times x and then 4 times a negative 6. Well, 4 times x is going to give you a 4x. Okay? 4 times a negative 6 gives you negative 24. Okay? Alright? So, I'm going to give you one, and I want you to try it. Actually, I'm going to give you a couple of them. Let's do 2 times x plus 5. And then let's do 3 times negative x. Let's do minus 6. Okay? I want you to pause the videos and I want you to try those two. This is just a little quick practice. Alright, I'm assuming that you paused the video like I said. Let's work it. It's very simple. Okay? So you're going to have 2 times x and then 2 times, and that's a positive 5. So that simplified expression is 2x plus 10. Alright? So you have 3 times a negative x. Alright? And then 3 times a negative 6. That gives you a negative 3x. And then that is minus 18. Okay? Questions there? Hope you ain't got none, because I can't answer right now. Okay, so let's try another one. I'm going through this really quick. But if you guys got, questions, you can hit me in the Google Classroom or email me. So let's try this. Let's say we have a negative outside of it, and we have, let's call this a x plus 7. When you have a negative outside of it, you have to distribute this negative into the parentheses. So it'll be a negative, and remember, anytime there's not a number there, there's an invisible 1. So that's understood as a negative 1 and then a negative 1. So what'll happen is you'll end up with negative 1 times x is a negative x, or a negative 1x. Remember, we don't write that 1. And then you have a negative 1 times 7. That's going to be minus 7. Okay? So the rule here is anytime there's a negative outside of the parentheses, you have to distribute that negative into the parentheses. So negative 1 times x would have given us the negative x, and then negative 1 times the positive 7 gave us the positive 7. Alright? So that's the rule. Remember, anytime there's a negative outside the parentheses, you have to distribute the negative. I hope you guys got that. I'm going really, really fast. Let's move on to our next concept that I need to show you. Okay? Alright, so let's say we have have a negative, let's say 2, parentheses, 3x minus 5. All right, so now we're getting to the next level of our instruction. So what happens is this. So you'll do negative, sorry, my stove just went off. Okay, so anyways, so we still need to distribute. We're going to distribute the negative 2 throughout the parentheses. So you got negative 2 times 3x. Well, what is negative 2 times 3? I hope you said 6. So we have negative 2 times 3. That gives you a negative 6, and then that's just simply an x. Now we have negative 2 times a negative 5. Now remember, a negative times a negative gives you a positive, so that becomes a plus 10. Okay? Let's try one more. One more quick example. So let's make this a 4, parentheses, let's say negative 6x minus, let's go with a 10. So we got to distribute. 4 times a negative 6 gives you a negative 24x. 4 times that 10, okay, that's a negative 10, and so that will be minus 40. Okay? Hope you guys got that, because I'm going to give you one to practice on. I'm going to give you 3 of these to practice on. So let's do negative 4, parentheses, minus a negative 2x. Let's do plus 3. I'll have you practice on that one. The next one will be a negative 6, parentheses, 4x minus 5. And then let's do a negative, okay, negative x plus 7. All right, so I want you guys to pause the video and then come back. I'll come back in just a second and we'll go over this one. All right, pause the video. Pause. All right, so I'm assuming that you guys paused the video. Let's work it. So we distribute. That's negative 4 times a negative 2x. What is that? Negative times a negative is a positive, so that gives you a positive 8x. Then you have negative 4 times a positive 3. That negative times a positive gives you a negative 12. So the solution to this expression would be a 8x minus 12. Okay? So now you have a negative 6 times a positive 4x. That gives you a negative 24x. Negative 6 times a negative 5 is a positive 30. So that's a negative 24x plus 30. All right? As a solution for this one. Okay, the last one. Negative x times a negative, negative. When you distribute this negative sign in here, remember that's a negative 1 times a negative x. Well, it's simple. It gives you a positive x. A lot of you might get confused on that. Okay? That negative and that negative becomes a simple positive x. Negative 1 times a positive 7 gives you a negative 7. And there's your solution for that last one. All right? So, just a quick recap, guys. I think you're good. I think you're good. I think we're good. Remember that the distributive property, just a quick recap. The distributive property, it basically means we're going to distribute whatever's on the outside of the parentheses into the parentheses. That's what the distributive property is. All right. So now, let's take a, I almost knocked my computer over. Let's take a look at some next level material. All right. So this is kind of what your assignment looks like. So I'm going to jot this down and I'm going to show you how to work this. I'll do number 1 and probably number 2, and I'll give you the next one. So that looks like a 8 plus 5 parentheses, a negative 2 plus 6p. Okay, so I'm now going to work this for you. So the first step is going to be to distribute throughout the parentheses. So you have 5 times a negative 2, which is a negative 10. Then you have 5 times that 6p, and that gives you a plus 30p. Finally, you have the 8. Now we can simplify this expression, okay? We combined our like terms like last week's assignment. That gives us a negative 2. Sorry about the pause. Plus 30p. And that's our answer. All right. So let's try another one. Let's take a look at another one of these. Let's go here. Let's try that second one. So we have a negative 3z minus 5 parentheses 4 plus 8z. Okay, first step is going to be to distribute. So when you distribute, that becomes a negative 20 negative 5 times a 8z gives you a negative 40z. Bring down our negative 3z. And now we combine our like terms. So you have negative 3z and a negative 40z. You combine those. Remember, a negative and a negative, that means the signs are the same, so you're going to add those. So that becomes a negative 43z minus 20, because we don't have anything to combine that 20 with. Okay, so that's basically what we're looking at for this week. What I'm going to do, or what I need for you guys to do, is really quick, I want you guys to try problem 7 that's on the screen and problem 3 on the screen, 3 and 7, and we'll come back and talk. So I hope you guys work that out. I'm going to go ahead and work this solution really quick, and then if you guys got questions, you can go ahead and comment or contact me through email or in the Google Classroom. So the first step on this first problem is, remember, we need to distribute. That's going to be negative 9 times a 7s. That is a negative 63s. Okay. Negative 9 times a positive 6. 9 and 6, that is 54. So that's a minus 54. And then we're going to bring down the 8s. Okay. So on our next step here, we need to combine our like terms. So you have a 8s and a 63s. You need to combine those. Now the signs are different, so that means that you need to subtract. So we're looking at basically 63 minus 8. Okay, 63 minus 8. I believe that gives you 55. So that will be a negative 55s. And then we have minus 54. There's a solution for that first problem. This next one, we need to distribute the 2. So that's 2 times 3, that gives you 6, plus 2 times 8c gives you 16c. So our solution for this problem will be 6 plus 16c. Alright, so listen, what I need you guys to do, go ahead and try to work on that assignment in Google Classroom. If you guys got questions, go ahead and hit me up, email me, contact me through Google Classroom, and yeah, I'll holler at you guys next time. Peace.